Hey, thanks for watching Dede Croy with My Favorite Groomer. I've been grooming senior disabled aggressive dogs for over 22 years. I've learned how to do nail trims on my own for so long because I worked by myself for so many years. Yes, I do nails a little different than everyone else. It is my process. A lot of people don't know how to do it like me. They'll watch and they don't quite get it. I have perfected it over the years, and I get a lot of questions about nail trimming because it's something we think is so simple and easy to do at home. The unfortunate thing is when you're doing a dog nail trim and you end up hitting the vein or making them bleed, whatever you want to call it, that little blood vessel in there is pumping. When you hit that blood vessel because you took off too much of the nail, all of a sudden it's beating. And like the heart is beating, the blood is going to seriously. If you watch the blood come out, you will find it's like beating, just like the heartbeat goes. Well, if it's happening, it's too late. And if it keeps happening, then that's why I am in business, because many people hit the nails on it, hit the vein on the nails of many dogs, causing them to bleed. Groomers, vet techs, veterinarians, I've seen it across the board. I've worked alongside veterinarians. I've worked with other groomers. I've worked in salons. I've come through and worked in a lot of different salons. So for backup, because I could groom all day at one salon and then leave and go groom at another. Yes, do it. It's so cool, so fun, and it makes you evaluate your brain. But like, it opens up your mind to so many different things the more you expose yourself to not just stay in one place. So with that in mind, I have a question. So this is Ask the Groomer, and this might be something that I start to do a little bit of. So if you have a question, be sure to email it to me. And you can find the description of the video by clicking on the title, depending on your device, or clicking on description or where it says see more, then it'll tell you a whole bunch of stuff. And in that, you can contact me somehow, some way, so I can answer your questions. If I'm spending time like this answering your questions, it does take time out of my day, and I would love your support. As you know, we still have rescue dogs that are up for adoption, and all their dental cleanings are really expensive. And here in February 2025, we have 5 dental cleanings that I have to pay for. So your $1 goes a long way in my baby world. So we can't do it all by ourselves. We can do it together, and I hope you can understand that perspective. With that in mind, let's move forward with the question. Cindy writes me an email and says this. Hi, Dede. I'm sorry to bother you. I have been following you for quite a while and love watching your videos and suggestions. Thank you, Cindy. Hopefully you hit that like button and subscribe so that YouTube knows you love it. There are a few items you have recommended that I have bought that help me with my 2 girls. Thank you so much for buying. I hope you've bought at my store to support us at myfavoritegroomer.com. And if you do want to donate, myfavoritegroomer.com/donate. I'm not asking for much. $1, that goes a long way. So she goes on to say, my little ones do not like to have her toenails trimmed, and even I do just a tiny trim, they always seem to bleed. Her nails are black and I cannot see the quicks. Not sure how I can be cutting into them with how little I'm removing. Remember, just a sliver doesn't mean there's not a vein under there. But somehow I am. Is there a tool that you recommend for little ones that I can see where the quick is? Thank you again for all your education you provide, Cindy. Cindy, thank you so much for asking this question and sending it to an email through me. I would love to answer it. I gave you a quick tidbit on a short video. This is a bit longer video because I'm going to tell you a little bit of more of what I want you to do. So you're not calling me back to see what your homework is in month 2 and what your homework is in month 3. And this is something that you just be able to do on your own forever on out. Now, hear me out. You are not me and I am not you. So what I might have you do, you might have to struggle with a little bit because you don't have all the experience. You also might come back and say, Dede, doing just a nail trim isn't all helping because you need a table, a groom loop, maybe a helper, because I don't have a helper, so I need to have my Dog Up Mini or my Dog Up Plus help me let them stand up. I might need to take that dog on an exercise walk. And if I don't do that, you've seen me do treadmill walking. So I think, because I do have videos of me walking the dogs on the treadmill, exercise, exercise, exercise. When I am having to deal with aggressive dog grooming, I always require exercise. Because in most cases, like if you're like in my world, I can snuggle with my dogs all day and they want to snuggle all day. when I have those days. But if I never give them exercise and never give them the walks they need, do they ever get it? No, they don't get it. So just because they don't get it doesn't mean they don't need it. So your dogs need exercise, okay? If you have cats and they're gaining a lot of weight, it's the same thing. They need exercise. And I'm here to just tell you what it is in my world when I'm trying to groom an aggressive dog. When they come off the couch, outside, pee or poop, get in the car, come to the salon, don't even get walked outside the salon, come right in, me and that dog are gonna be, that dog's gonna be jumping around, arguing, trying to bite me. If I told them, which I did the last 3 or 4 years, I mandated exercise. I think you may have seen these videos. I would make them go out and walk immediately before the grooming for a reason, because that gets that energy. Like, where's it gonna go? Well, it's gonna go between me and the dog and the table. I don't want that. I want most of it out on the pavement. Walk and exercise. That dog is like, I'm wore out. Well, that wore out dog will have less to fight. They will have less fight. They may still fight. I didn't say they wouldn't, but they may argue less, they may fight less, and they may give up faster. And that's what you want. But if you are hitting the vein on every nail you do, you are doing a disservice. Hitting the vein is like the equivalent of me like ripping your nail off and letting it grow back and then ripping it off again. You are gonna stop going somewhere that rips your nail off for painting. If you came in and I ripped your nail off, you are not gonna come back, I hope. So if a dog is in your care and you are constantly hitting the vein, you are really doing a disservice. So I understand people have budgets. I understand it's time consuming. I understand how easy it looks like. Those are just nails. Let's just trim them. If you're hitting the vein, we've got to stop, and we've got to do it a little differently if you're going to continue, or don't do them at all. And then if you are going to choose someone else, because again, I wouldn't have a job if no one hit the veins, right? Aggressive dogs are not born aggressive. They become aggressive due to trauma. It sounds like a child. A child isn't born aggressive. There is very little cases where a DNA of a child is born aggressive, like a killer. There's a dog that's born. He was born happy. He was born as cute puppy. And along the way, things happened. And some of those things that can happen that makes a dog aggressive for me to groom is most of the time is someone hitting the vein over and over and over. I can talk a lot about that, but I'll save it for another video. I want to go into answering your question. So I already gave you a short, but I'm going to repeat myself. What I would do is stop nail trimming altogether in your case, Miss Cindy's case. If you have a case of your own, you're free to email me. I would just ask you to please offer a small donation, because the time it takes to do these videos, make the content, send the emails, all that stuff, load it up, adjust the content for you to see takes a lot of time. So a small donation lets me know you value my time when I give you a direct answer. I usually have you go to myfavoritegroomer.com and it says book with Dede, and you can do an email and pay for it. You can do a phone call and pay for it. And that way it's just covered. But since I'm just answering these questions right now off the bat for you without even worrying about that, I'm giving this free information to you. It's always great if you can support me that you do, because I give back so much of myself in so many ways that has to do with money, time, grooming, even just labor. So thank you so much for hearing that. Now, moving forward, if you're nail trimming every week, and I say every week because I would say somebody at home, a pet owner at home, that's not a groomer. You're not usually doing this all the time. But to do it regularly and getting your dog used to it, you might find it works a lot better for you. And once you've had, like, for instance, if you were here in Texas and I could help you, I would tell you, I understand you can't come every month. I understand your schedule. You may not even have a car. Maybe you're on a tight budget. What you can do is come in, I do the nails, they're right where they need to be, and then in a week, I want you to just take one sliver off. In your case, Cindy, you may not be able to take one sliver off in a month because, like I said, that vein, the blood, right, that blood vessel has gone all the way out to the tip of the nail. So when you take that one sliver, it's like nothing, and they're already bleeding. So with Miki's, I've done a Miki's, and it was the same way. I was like, dang, there's nothing to take here. Although they were really curled under. I was like, wow, these are super curled. We got to do something. So I'm going to tell you, dremeling or sanding the nail, because Dremel is a brand name. So dremeling with a Dremel that I sell on my website, it's a bulkier device. I'm going to send you a different link for an item that could work, but this link is going to be a tool that might not last very long. It's going to be a low cost one. It's going to make less sound. I will also send you the Dremel that I prefer to use in this scenario, which they stopped making. I didn't see any of them. A specific type, they were not making them the last 2 years, but the last 6 months, I've kind of seen it out there as if it's kind of had low inventory. So if you're interested in knowing the tools that I'm recommending to Miss Cindy, email me through finding the description of the video and finding my email through that, or emailing me through the website. I say this, it's best to find the email and email me directly so that hopefully it doesn't go to spam. If you don't hear back from me, it's not because I'm ignoring you, it's because it went to spam and I don't even know it's sitting there. So don't fret, try again. Don't give up, okay? If you don't hear from me, there's a reason. If someone needs help, I always write back. Even if I say book a call. If they don't want to book a call, they don't value my time, I'll say book a call, book this email, because this is a 1 hour conversation. Like this video is already at 11 minutes. Talking about these things isn't just, hey, just do this. I want to give you a little bit more information of why, so you can understand why you're going to do this. And then when you know all this, guess what? You'll know it forever. You won't need to ask again. You won't need to wonder again. You'll just know what you need to do. When you get these cheap tools for nail grinding, there's 1,000 millions of them on all these websites. There's tons of different types. I've tried at least 10. And I know better what will happen. And some of the better ones that are better for longevity, better for that type of nail, better for curled nails. They're all not the same longevity. They're all not the same. And they all don't always last the same. So what I mean is I might say, hey, get this one, it's $20, but you're going to trash that in probably a year or less. Or get this one, the battery's going to corrode. So before you put it up every time, always take out the batteries. Or get this one. This one is a one you plug in, but it makes a lot of noise. It's really loud. You don't want to use it for a dog that hates sound and vibrations and airflow. Or get this one. I think this one's really good, as long as you can get the lithium battery, which is twice as much as the unit later. A lithium battery for one of my Dremels was like $45. And so how many $10 cheap ones could you have bought? Which sucks to say that, but it's the truth. So, hey, maybe I'm going to tell you what I want to tell you based off of your situation. So this situation is a lot of great information for Cindy, but the tools I recommend for each individual person might be different. Okay. So find a way to find the description of the video, find my email if you have the same question and you want to know what links I sent to Cindy. Now I will try to find some of the links in the YouTube shopping experience, which is down at the bottom of these videos, like right underneath it says shopping. YouTube is doing that now to almost every video. So I will try to find some kind, I say that it's called auto. It will do it whether I do it or not. It will do it for me. So they want you to shop through YouTube. And so I may find some that I think are similar, but they might not be exactly what I'm telling her to get off of a different website. Okay. And then some of these might be out of stock underneath as well. When you look down there, it might be out of stock. Just let me know. Or like I said, just take the time. It may take a few minutes. Go, how do I see the description of the video? And then find the description of the video and just straight email me your question so I can answer you directly. Now, Cindy, thanks so much for shopping with me in the past. Check us out at myfavoritegroomer.com. And then we're also going to go into the next session of what I want to say. So when you get your nail grinder, because every nail grinder is not a Dremel. If you get the Dremel, you get the Dremel. If you get the nail grinder, you get the nail grinder. Now, you're saying you hit the vein every time when you take a sliver. Well, you don't want to take a sliver anymore, okay? There was a company I worked for. Later on, I found out they just started teaching all their groomers how to Dremel nails to avoid explaining in grave detail or trying to get them to understand how to trim the nail, or maybe the trainers didn't even know how to do it themselves. How to stop hitting the vein when you're trimming nails. Okay, whole nother video. This is different. So right now, once you get your sander, what I want you to do is, depending on the device, if you get it and it's a lithium battery, I want you to charge it for 24 hours. Don't play with it. Just pull it right out of the box, put it on the charger for 24 hours. Keep that charger, that wire, that brick that you plug in, and that device all together forever, all together. Put it in a Ziploc bag or a plastic bag with a zip, or a box, a plastic box that's just for that. I have had a client Lala Doodles. I showed her how to groom doodles through all my videos, and she let me know she bought Dremels from me. She sent me back a Dremel, and I replaced it because she says it wasn't even a Dremel I sent to her. But she said she was leaving it on the charger all the time. Don't do that either. That will ruin things. Don't leave things plugged in for 24 hours over and over for 6 months straight. Don't do that. Take them off the charger. They need time to die all the way back down and then be charged all the way back up. So don't do that. And Lala Doodle sent me a replacement. I don't normally do that, but she had bought it from me and I had a spare. And what she did was she sent it to Dremel, the one that she got that year, which is not the one I'm telling you to get. She sent it to Dremel, and I said, well, if you're doing that, send me the other one. I'll send you a whatever. And so she sent me this other. She had them send it to me after they fixed it. And I was like, this is not even one I sell. So I knew that she got it mixed up. She had bought it somewhere else. When you have that particular toenail trimmer did not like her charger, and it fried itself, I think. So you keep the cord, the brick, and the item all together. Don't mix it up with another wire and all that. That way you know for sure if there's problems with it, it wasn't because you changed the wires. Okay, lots of information here. I'm so sorry. I just feel like these are things that you need to know if I'm going to tell you to get something. These are tips and tricks that'll help you maintain your devices. And also, let's move forward. So now you've got your device. It's charged 24 hours, and you're going to say do a zip zap twice a month. And so that's every other week, or you might do a zip zap every Friday. If you can afford to do a zip zap every Friday, you will see that the nail will not recede, but it will start being it'll stop growing further. And you're going to be like, wow, it's like not even moving, which is great. And then it won't recede, meaning here's your nail and I'm going to get it all the way back to here. No, that's not true. I've never seen that happen. But what we're doing is keeping it right there, and we're backing it up a tiny bit, and we're just keeping it there now. Now, if you have your dogs go in, like Miss Faith here that just got her surgery. She's over here, the darker dog. Miss Faith just got her surgery yesterday. And guess what they did? They did a nail trim without asking me, which I was okay with. I didn't want to ask them for more because it was over $1,500. So I didn't want to add more because I can do her nails. But under surgery, you always want to get the nails done more because they did make them bleed. That when I looked at the nails, they all had a little blood on them. And that was done under surgery. So when you go to the next veterinarian that gives a surgery to your dog and they can cut half off the freaking whole nail, the whole thing. So they can do that under surgery. But then what are you going to do when they come back? I did that once with Brownie. They were all like this short, and then I didn't trim them every week. So they just got back to normal. And I was like, I'm never going to do that again. I don't need to do that to him every time. But if you do that, then stay on top of the nail trimming so that they stay short. And if you stay on top of it dremeling or sanding, you're going to find like they stay short forever. If you pull up on your search engine, show dog nail trim, when you go to a show for show dogs, and I know we're not trying to show dogs, but them dogs have nails that long. They are short. They are usually ground down every day. It's a job to be a show dog. They're ground down every day. So we can do that too, but we don't. I had a call the other day about a lady who wanted to get her dog groomed and get started on the grooming. Her dog was already 6 months old. And I said to her, we're already really behind. So the nails, have you been getting them done? Because now I'm sure those nails are probably that long. And maybe the vein is like that long. So I can only trim it a couple slivers. So like we're not doing the nub thing here, right? So food for thought. All right. When you get your nail trimmer and nail grinder and you charge it for 24 hours, and then we're going to do tap, tap every Friday. I say every Friday. You could say every Monday, put it on your schedule. Every Monday night, we stand outside and go tap, 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 tap. You do 2 taps, tap, 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 tap. Don't forget the dew claw. Okay. And with the dew claw, with the Miki, they're such a small arm. It's really hard. So it's really great to have a helper do that one. So you're not twisting and all this stuff. And then treat afterwards, like you treat, so that you can get them used to it. I recommend a grooming table And I recommend the 18-inch one on myfavoritegroomer.com with a grooming arm and a grooming loop. And why? Because even if you do the grooming loop, a Miki's pretty small sometimes. I hope I'm thinking the right thing. So they're so small, you can go around the body instead of the neck. And forgive me if I am wrong, but get the dog on the table and even a mini underneath it, a dog upstand mini to hold the dog up to do the back leg so they're not standing on 3 legs or whatnot. That helps me. These are just tools I use, so I'm going to talk about what I use. And so forgive me for actually laying all that out. I like to be completely clear about all these little things that make a difference in having a very fast nail trim. My dog nail trims, even on those aggressive dogs that I do, I'm done in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Aggressive pit bull, they take more time trying to get the dog to be held down, like held because they're big, than it does for me to do a 3-minute nail trim. So I want you to get to where you're doing a 10-minute nail trim or less. Why? Because the dog starts going, I'm done. They don't want you to touch their nails anymore. They're like, get off of me. So you have 3 minutes. I've learned this in 20-something years. You have 3 minutes to get it done. That's kind of the same thing on the face grooming, which is why I always save the face for last. What? So 3-minute nail trim. You try your best to get to 10 minutes, 7 minutes. And then sure enough, before you know it, you're doing this zap, 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 zap treat. Your dog is going to be like, I can't. It's treat time, especially if you do it every night for 30 days. If you did it every night for 30 days, you're going to get those nails down, not all the way down like that. They're not going to go down like that, but they're going to come down like that and they're going to stay there. And your dog's going to start going, yeah, it's treat time. And you go tap, tap. Now, do this yourself if you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you've ever used a drill and you're drilling a screw into wood and you touch that nail, or not the nail, that you touch that screw, it's hot. It burns your finger for a second. That is the same concept of any moving rotary tool. If you hold that down on something like your finger and touch it, it's hot. So I'm telling you, even on my dentist, if I have someone do my teeth cleaning and they're a novice and they stay on my tooth, it's like, okay, stop, get off. Like, why are you holding it there? You have to move it. You have to part. You have to take your tip apart like this. Okay, you have to take it apart to release heat. Okay, and it still is warm because it's still running. Unless you have one that you are turning off, when you let go, you turn it off. Instead, release that heat and come back. Release that heat and come back. That way that there's a vein in here in the dog's nail. So if it's like a tooth, there's a root in there. They're going to feel it when it gets hot and they're going to go, what are you doing? You know? So don't do that. You want to do tap, tap. And this is, again, the way I do stuff. So I've seen groomers, a lady that worked for me, just hold it down and go, "Rah!" And yeah, it's fast and great and everything, but it was like no release. No release. So if a dog was really angry, sometimes I think it was probably because she was, holding it down too long. I won't know because I don't do it that way because I have a little common sense. I know what happens when a drill is touch to touch and stays together. Just do it yourself. Grind something like wood and then touch it. It is hot. It's hot like fire. So that's going to be felt throughout your nail, your tooth, and the dog can't say, "Hey, that's hot right there." I can say that if you do that, if you hold it down on me. And maybe some of you guys get your nails done and do all that. They grind it. They grind it, let go, grind it, let go. They're going pretty fast doing it, but they're not going to hold down or they would all not come back for another round. Okay, moving forward. If you can do the grinding, zip, 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 zip twice every day for 30 days, then you move into once a month, once every 2 months, you're grinding them down, like we're done. We've got them right where we want them and we want them to stay there. But if you do it every day, you don't have to continue doing it every day forever. You're going to get to a place where you're doing it once every 3 or 4 months, depending on the dog, depending on what the dog does. There was a Dachshund that came in from DFW Dachshund Rescue. They actually referred her to come to me. The lady was driving from Denton. This is a little Dachshund. I was like, you don't have to drive so far for me. She goes, no, I want you to help me. So we would do a bath and a nail trim. Well, once we got to we did nail trimming every month. in a bath for about 4 months. And then we moved into nail grinding so that the nail would start to stop growing, but also be softer around the outside of the nail itself, like softer around this. And the dog was letting me do it. It was so cool. And she was an older dog. Angel, do you hear her? Angel. Okay, I'm going to get you more water in a second. All right, Miss Angel. This is so much information. I didn't know it was going to be this long, so much stuff to talk about. But she would come down from Denton, which is about a 45-minute drive one way, just for a nail trim and a bath every month. I mean, God bless her, and I was so grateful to have her as a client because she cared about her dog. She didn't want no one to hit the vein. She didn't want no one to do this and that. And so we got into grinding. Once we started doing grinding, guess what happened? I told her, we don't have to do the nails every time anymore. It's every 3 or 4 months. It was so cool to be able to say that. And because I would look at it and I'm like, I can see the vein still. It's right there. So I'll do a tip, like tap, 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 tap. Just because you're here. She drove 45 minutes one way. And after that, like, I was like, you can do this yourself. Like, I don't see her anymore. So food for thought. You can do once a day for 30 days, get the nails grounded down and maintained, and you have to work on it with the treats and stuff like that. You might do, the first few days might be slower to go, which means you do 2 nails the first day on each dog and so forth. Don't think that if you don't want to do this at all, then don't. Don't even buy the tool. Just pick yes or no. Don't be in the middle. Don't do it for a little while and then give up, because then you just wasted a lot of time. Don't do that, because you end up getting the dog upset with you sometimes, and it's just not worth it if you're just not going to do it. If you choose to go somewhere else, when you're sitting in the car and you've picked up your dog for a nail trim, look at the nails and make sure underneath the nails is not all bloody, or even not all like a orangey, which means there's a powder called Quick Stop that you apply to the vein when it's bleeding, and it's a blood clotting material powder, and they apply that. Okay, I have it, but when they grab that first and then go to do a nail trim, they're likely to use it. That means they hit a lot of veins. Now, if the dog's just like you doing it at home, if it's painful, there will be a time, maybe 9 years from now, 7 years from now, or even 6 months. We saw that on that doodle, this tiny 6-month-old doodle. She was the first youngest dog that hated wherever she was being treated young. To get her used to it, was already hurting her. And at 6 months, she was super aggressive. So if they're hitting the vein over and over and over, it's not a good thing. At some point, the dog is going to break, and they're not going to let the average person touch their feet anymore, including the owner. So if you choose to go somewhere, check the nails, and you don't want to keep going somewhere where they're all hitting the vein, okay? And if you do go somewhere and you already know there's not much to take off before the vein is exposed, tell them. Just say, I always hit the vein. There's not a lot of nail after the vein, so please try not to hit the vein. That's why I'm coming here. Do that. If you go to a veterinarian and they don't use sedation, you can ask them yourself, because this is just advice in my history in my experiences. If you go to a veterinarian and you give them your dog and they walk to the back and you want to get a nail trim, you're not going to see what's going on, and you're going to say to them, if you're not going to sedate my dog, don't hit the vein on every nail, which is going to be detrimental to the comfort of the animal. Again, all dogs, what I want to add to that is all dogs don't whine and scream. Some do when their nails are hit, when their nails are being trimmed and the veins are hit. Some dogs scream, some dogs don't. Just because they don't scream doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Some kids will tell you something's wrong. Some kids will scream like something's wrong. So they are just like our children. And so don't believe the look. Sometimes, what I mean is sometimes, look at him. If I looked, whoops, look at him. And so I'm not even going to edit this out. So whoops, I didn't mean to do that. It kind of fell. Sorry. I am wearing a shirt. Okay. So anyways, don't just look at a dog and be like, oh gosh, he can't tell you how he's feeling. So hopefully you can kind of try to understand, and then also look for yourself, double check it before you leave. If it's all bloody, in my opinion, this is going deeper than I wanted it to. If it's all bloody, I would go in and say something. I would say, hey, I didn't want all the veins to be hit on my dog's nails. This is why I came here to a professional. I want a refund, or I don't like it, or I'm going to leave a review. But be factual. Okay, be factual. All these fake reviews, I don't like them. That's just disservice to customer service, and how we grow our experience levels. And I think that if you're just being mean or hateful, you're not letting other people know how business really is conducted. If someone's doing something great for you and you're leaving a review that's not factual, I don't agree in that. But Miss Cindy, when you get your stuff, you're going to do tap tap every day or tap tap every month and every week until we talk again. I would say book a call next time so I can be more clear. But really, if you do all this every day for 30 days and then move into once a week for 2 weeks, just 2 weeks in the next month, and then you'll probably move into every couple months. The vein is going to be right where you want it, and you're just going to use that sander to keep it where you want it. It's going to be so cool if you can get past this big hump in the beginning of doing a nail trim. OMG, you are going to love it. Anyone else that's also going through this is great advice for somebody trying to do this at home. Now, mind you, I've given you no training other than this discussion. I've tried to paint the picture for you. So this is up to you because you're already doing these nail trims. This is up to you to do this on your own if you're going to take this job on yourself. I always say to check with your professionals to help you. And if you're near me, I could definitely help you, at least get you started on it, and then get the nails where you want them to be without having to trim them every day, and then without having to hit that vein every time you trim the nails. Thanks for chiming in. I hope this information is helpful to you. You can pick up the tools I sell and use at myfavoritegroomer.com. And if this is information that's helpful to you for free, be sure to donate or help us out at myfavoritegroomer.com/donate. I truly love what I do, and I love it when you ask me questions and I answer them for you, and it helps you move forward in your world. And this is just information and tips you'll never lose once you know it. Have a great night, and thanks for supporting on my channel and on my website. We'll talk to you later. God bless you.